Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's the day 6 of our book reading series named Read with RACHANA. Firstly, I'm extremely sorry for not putting my videos every day consistently for past few days. I know, like I promised I'll do it every day, but because of some personal reason I couldn't do it, and I'm extremely sorry, but I will try my best from now onwards. And I am reading this awesome book, Becoming by Michelle Obama, and I am on the I have completed till 47th page, and I'm moving towards the 48th page of this book. So till now I love this book, and here we go. Let's continue. By the time I was 14, I basically thought of myself as half a grown up anyway. Maybe even as two-thirds of a grown up. I had gotten my period, which I announced immediately and with huge excitement to everyone in the house, because that was just the kind of household we had. I had graduated from a training bra to one that looked vaguely more humanly, which also thrilled me. Instead of coming home for lunch, I now ate with my classmates in Mr. Burnett's room at school. Instead of dropping in at Southside House on Saturdays to listen to his jazz records and play with Rex, I rode my bike right past, headed east to the bungalow on Oxlaby Avenue where the Gore sisters lived. The Gore sisters were my best friends and also a little bit my idols. Diane was in my grade and Pam a grade behind. Both were beautiful girls. Diane was fair-skinned and Pam was darker, each with kind of self-possessed grace that seemed to come naturally. Even their little sister, Gina, who was a few years younger, emanated a robust femininity that I came to think of simply as Gore-like. Theirs was a home with few men. Their father didn't live there and was rarely discussed. There was one much older brother who was a peripheral presence. Mrs. Gore was an upbeat, attractive woman who worked full-time. She had a makeup table laden with perfume bottles and face powder, compacts, and various ointments in tiny pots, which given my mother's modest practicality seemed as exotic as jewels to me. I loved spending time at their house. Pam, Diane and I talked endlessly about which boys we liked. We put on lip gloss and took turns trying on each another's clothes. Suddenly aware that certain pairs of pants made our hips look curvier. Much of my energy in those days was spent inside my own head, sitting alone in my room listening to music, daydreaming about a slow dance with a cute boy, or glancing out the window, hoping for a crush to ride his bike down the block. So it was a blessing to have found some sisters to ride through these years with together. Boys weren't allowed it inside the Gore house, but they buzzed around it like flies. They rode their bikes back and forth on the sidewalk. They sat on the front stoop, hoping Diane or Pam might come out to flirt. It was meant to be fall around all this expectancy, even as I was unsure of what it all meant. Everywhere I looked, bodies were changing. Boys from school were suddenly men-sized and awkward, their energy twitchy and their voices deep. Some of my girlfriends, meanwhile, looked like they were 18, walking around in short shorts and halter tops, and their expressions cool and confident as if they knew some secret, as if now they existed on a different plane. While the rest of us remained uncertain and slightly dumbfounded, waiting for our call up to the adult world, full like our growing legs and young in a way that no amount of lip gloss could yet fix. Like a lot of girls, I became aware of the liabilities of my body early, long before I began to even look like a woman. I moved around the neighborhood now with more independence laid tied to my parents. I'd catch a city bus to go to the late afternoon dance classes at Mayfair Academy on 79th Street, where I was taking jazz and acrobatics. I run errands for my mom sometimes. With the new freedom came new vulnerabilities. I learned to keep my gaze fixed firmly ahead anytime I passed a group of men clusters on a street corner, careful not to register their eyes roving over my chest and legs. I knew to ignore the catcalls when they came. I learned which blocks in our neighborhood were thought to be more dangerous than others. I knew never to walk alone at night. At home, my parents made one major concession to the fact they were housing two growing teenagers, renovating the back porch of our kitchen and converting it into a bedroom for Craig, who now was a sophomore in high school. The flimsy partition that Southside had built for us years earlier came down. I moved into what had been my parents' room. They rotated into what had been the kids' room, and for the first time, my brother and I had actual space for ourselves. My new bedroom was dreamy, complete with a blue and white floral bed skirt and pillow shams, a crisp navy blue rug, and a white princess style bed with a matching dresser and a lamp. A near exact replica of a full page bedroom layout I like in the Sears catalog and been allowed to get. Each of us was given our own phone extension too. My phone was a light blue to match my new decor, while Craig's was a manly black, which meant we could conduct our personal business semi-privately. I arranged my first real kiss, in fact, over the phone. It was with a boy named Ronil. Ronil didn't go to school or live in my immediate neighborhood, but he sang in the Chicago Children's Choir with my classmate Shaika, and with Shaika acting as intermediary, we somehow had decided we liked each other. Our phone calls were a little awkward, but I didn't care. I liked the feeling of being liked. I felt a jing of anticipation every time the phone rang. Could it be Ronil? I don't remember which one of us proposed that we met outside my house one afternoon to give kissing a try, but there was no nuance to it. No euphemisms needed to be applied. We weren't going to hang out or take a walk. We were going to make out, and we were both all for it. Which is how I landed on the stone bench that sat near the side door of my family's house, in full view of the south-facing windows and surrounded by my great aunt's flower beds, lost in a warm, splazy kiss with Ronel. There was nothing earth-shattering, especially inspiring about it, but it was fun. Being around boys, I was slowly coming to realize was fun. The hours I passed watching Craig's game from glitches of one gym or another began to feel less like a sisterly obligation, because what was a basketball game if not showcase of boys? I'd wear my Snuggets jeans and lay on some extra bracelets, and sometimes bring one of the Gore sisters along to boost my visibility in the stands, and then I would enjoy every minute of the sweaty spectacle before me. The leaping and charging, the rippling and roaring, the pulse of maleness and its all mysteries on full display. When a boy on JVTV smiled at me as he left the court one evening, I smiled right back. I felt like my future was just beginning to arrive. I was slowly separating from my parents, gradually less inclined to blurt every last thought in my head. I rode in silence behind them in the backseat of the Buick as we drove home from those basketball games, my feelings too deep or too jumbled to share. I was caught up in the lonely thrill of being a teenager now, convinced that the adults around me had never been there themselves. Sometimes in the evening I would emerge from brushing my teeth in the bathroom and find the apartment dark, the lights in the living room and kitchen turned off for the night, everyone settled into their own spare. I would see a glow beneath the door to Craig's room and know he was doing homework. I would catch the flicker of television light coming from my parents' room and hear them murmuring quietly, laughing to themselves, just as I never wondered what it was like for my mother to be full-time at-home mother. I never wondered then what it meant to be married. I took my parents' union for granted. It was a simple, solid fact upon which all four of our lives were built. Much later, my mother would tell me that every year when spring came and the air warmed up in Chicago, she entertained thoughts about leaving my father. I don't know if those thoughts were actually serious or not. I don't know if she considered the idea for an hour or for a day or for most of the session, but for her it was an active fantasy, something that felt healthy and maybe even energizing to ponder, almost as ritual. I understand now that even a happy marriage can be a vexation, that it's a contract best renewed and renewed again, even quietly and privately, even alone. I don't think my mother announced whatever her doubts and discontents were to my father directly, and I don't think she let him in on whatever alternative life she might have been dreaming about during those times. Was she picturing herself on a tropical island somewhere with a different kind of man, or in different kind of house, or with a corner office instead of kids? I don't know, and I suppose I could ask my mother, who is now in her 80s, but I don't think it matters. If you have never passed a winter in Chicago, let me describe it. You can live for 100 straight days beneath an iron grey sky that claps itself like a lid over the city. Frigid, biting winds blow off in the lake. Snow falls in dozens of ways in heavy overnight domes and daytime sideways squalls in demoralizing sloppy sleet and fairy tale billows of fog. There's ice, usually lots of it, that selects the sideways and windshields and that need to be scrapped. There is a sound of the scraping in the early mornings, the hack of it as people clear their cars to go to work. Your neighbors, unrecognizable in the thick layers they wear against the cold, keep their faces down to avoid the wind. City snow plows thunder through the streets as the white snow gets piled up and scooty until nothing is pristine. Eventually, however, something happens. A slow reversal begins. It can be subtle, a whiff of humidity in the air, a slight lifting on the sky. You feel it first in your heart, the possibility that winter might have passed. You may not trust it at the beginning, but then you do, because now the sun is out and there is a little snowy buds on the trees and your neighbors have taken off their heavy coats, and maybe there is a new airiness to your thoughts in the morning. You decide to pull out every window in your apartment so you can spray the glass and wipe down the sills. It allows you to think, to wonder if you have missed out on the other possibilities by becoming a wife to this man in this house with these children. Maybe you spend the whole day considering new ways to live before finally you fit every window back into its frame and empty your bucket of pine sol into the sink. And maybe now all your certainty returns because yes, truly it's spring and once again you have made the choice to stay. So we are at the end of the fourth part and we have completed till the fourth part. So I would say that I would like to start another part on my next video. And I really like the fact that this part was more about how Michelle was in her teenager days and how she was dealing with all the changes and hormonal changes and her physical changes. And I think she was just like a teenager, that how he or she is supposed to be. So I get it. And thank you so much if you are staying till the end. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and please keep supporting if you like what I do, and if you like my contents, please follow and please share it to your friends, and please subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot to me. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on my 7th day, and thank you. Bye bye, take care, see you soon.